Well, speaking of going, I have something to share with you that'll kind of and it goes right along with running too. I've listened to this song before when I'm jogging,
Yeah.
and so I'll get it queued up here. Does this require you to?
Oh, it's a stupid thing. My middle button is broken, so you got this little thing here, and you just go, and that kind of gives it back to this.
Gotcha.
The only ground rules for the listening thing is that it's up to the person who's playing whether they want to like listen intently, or if they want to talk over it.
This is a talk over song.
Okay.
And
you're gonna want to finish the whole thing. So, the only issue is just because I've learned in the past, you could do the cue up thing, but it's usually works better if like whoever's playing the song holds on to it, and then when the song's finished, they just slide it over.
That's yeah.
Because it's too tempting to like. I one of the things I noticed in the last episode I kept on doing was like, and I apologize, Camilla, for this because I looked on this afterwards. I was like, a lot of times I was like on my phone, looking for a song, but as someone's talking, and I was like, you know what, it's a better thing to avoid, you know.
Right. Exactly. I'm with you on that. Definitely. As I'm doing that.
No worries. No. Well, you gotta to start it off. You know, you gotta feel free to turn it up too. Yeah.
Open Eye Signal by John Hopkins.
John Hopkins. What is he affiliated with a bigger group or just individual?
I haven't looked a whole lot into him personally or his career actually, but he's got some great, definitely some really good tunes, some good tracks.
I like the.
I recommend it. Definitely some kind of thought-provoking music, instrumental. But you can feel that almost like heartbeat. It's really fast if it were a heartbeat, but you can feel that has a rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of harder backbone, you know, that really gives the song kind of what it is.
This almost feels like, sounds like something I might have heard in Berlin, like in Europe, some of the clubs.
Yeah, and maybe just a touch slower.
Yeah.
It's just a touch slower than like a house beat or something that you'd hear in a club for sure.
It's vibey.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
So one of my playlists that I'm dying to tell you about,
yeah, sure.
that I call To Infinity, because it's songs that I would listen to if I was on my journey to the International Space Station flying on a rocket.
Wow.
Very specific moment, but you know what? I feel that feeling from time to time in the car, and that's exactly why I created the playlist, because that's the one I go to. And you know, this song is on that playlist.
You said you feel it when you're in the car. Is it? What can you describe that feeling in a different way? Because I've
just the feeling of traveling, moving, being in control of a vehicle that you're directing through a space.
Yeah, for sure. Now I know what you mean. Yeah, that it is a weird thing to think about. To think like we're kind of at a place in time in human history where like it's easy to look at like 10 years and think that's a long time, or 100 years and think that's a long time. But like human beings go way back, and we're part of like the minority of people who experienced driving that fast or traveling that as fast as we do. It's kind of it's what people would have thought as like science fiction before, you know?
Yeah. And yeah,
it's just like that to me. I do get that way sometimes. Like think like if you just it's not. I don't recommend doing this. It's not a good idea. But if you're like driving, you widen your eyes and like try to like imagine like you're tripping out or something.
Well, when you do that, you widen your eyes. Your focal length is shortening a little bit, and so you actually have a little bit more of a fuzzy you know, background, and then you've got what you're focusing on, especially if it's nearby. If it's the road right in front of you, a little bit closer, then the things around it tend to go a little bit out of focus.
Yeah.
And you get kind of a tunnel vision, especially because in that perspective, what's moving beside you is faster. Because what you're directly looking ahead at, the road's moving really slow. If you're looking at it way down the road in front of you, it's moving slow, right? But if you are the passenger in a car and you look to the side, directly 90 degrees out the window, it's moving the fastest. I mean, it's going really fast by you. And so the reason, you know, without getting into the trigonometry of the math, you know, it just, it's when you do that and you expand your vision and you get that wider angle, you have more of these fringe edges where stuff's moving fast.
And you kind of, it's kind of like you're realizing the moment you're in. Like you're like, oh wow,
exactly.
Which is a really cool thing. I mean, I remember though also, it's not exactly this, but it's similar in. I remember having this feeling sometimes when we used to go on family trips, and when I was little, and like I'd be in the car, right? And usually if it's late, you know, you're driving at night and there'd be stars up. And I remember like specifically having this image of like looking out the window and imagining I was just in a spaceship. And like I always loved, if the music was right, it would make it. I don't know why, I'm getting a little bit on a tangent here, but I feel like it has something to do. You know, you're in a car traveling.
Oh no, absolutely. Definitely.
It's a lot of, it just kind of has to do with your perspective.
Yeah.
But no, I feel you. So, I'm sorry, I kind of interrupted what your train of thought, I felt like, on that feeling.
So that feeling of traveling and moving is, yeah, you interrupted it. No, in those moments of travel, you know, with this particular playlist where I imagine traveling through space, headed somewhere, I associate this music with that thought of looking out and seeing things pass by you. That could also be associated with time itself, moving and passing by you.
Did a little something there.
Yeah.
Kind of like slowed down, and then it was like, now we're doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know, this definitely seems like clubby to me, to some level.
Yes, so in a part like this, because of that change in the phase of the sound and it's more of a fuzz sound now that's enclosed, it doesn't have as much depth. And so I think of that as like, as your eyes are slowly defocusing, you know, and you're like getting this tunnel vision and things are kind of zooming in as you're getting into this zone. Like imagine a dramatic scene in a movie and the guy jumps in a car, or girl, maybe there's this scene of this like female badass chick is running and there's explosions of fire and she gets in the car and now she's taking off down the road and it's the end of the movie, it's the closing scene, and she's succeeded and gotten away, and then and the song's slowly changing as things are losing focus. The camera's zooming out away from the truck as she's driving down the road, and so the music is also adjusting as that camera angle and that perspective is changing. You know, so maybe you're in that space shuttle flying, and at that moment you're holding the controls and you're glancing at your flight systems, and then the camera's backing out. Now it's looking outside the window at you, and now we're kind of looking at this image of this rocket just kind of moving like a little satellite through space. Wow. The imagery.